challenges and overcoming them, there is always an option to move forward. And today we're going to talk to somebody who had a massive hill to climb, and he is doing it. And it is damn impressive. So hit that music and let's get started. Joining me today is TikTok sensation Bill Pickernell. He is a man who has really faced the mountain and is on his way climbing down it. Instead of being stopped by such a huge journey to go on, he leaned into it. He's been working really hard. I rarely see people work this hard. And because of that, I wanted to talk to this man. Bill, how you doing today?
Doing good. Really good.
Let's see if I can change that. So, one, thank you for coming on this podcast. This will probably be, hopefully it'll be fun. If not, at least the tears will be genuine. So let's really start. You are on TikTok. You post these workout videos where at your size, you are busting your ass. You are lifting weights. You are doing your best to run around. You are doing these dead bug things. You're doing lots of things seemingly all the time, and you're documenting it in what I might add is a very honest and genuine way. How did you get here?
I wanted to change my life and I didn't know where to start. And for me, I just started. Like, what's an easy workout? Sit down, stand up. What's an easy workout? Shadow. Like, I don't know. I wanted to be movement again.
The idea of the weight of 274 pounds is truly extraordinary.
674?
674. Yeah, it's
yeah.
Have you been heavy your entire life? What's that been like through childhood? What was your childhood like?
My childhood was I was always the bigger guy. I was, like in 8th grade graduation going to high school, I was voted most likely to be a sumo wrestler because I was always the biggest, and that kind of sticks with you. I was always the lineman in football. I was always the big guy you'd come to call to, pick up the sofa and put it outside or in the truck, I was always the big guy.
So you were big, but you also were, to some degree, at least in your youth, athletic, correct?
Oh, yeah. Like in high school, Native American award for our tribe is the Jim Thorpe Indian Athletic Award, which I don't know if you're familiar with Jim Thorpe. He joined the decathlon. He's in the Olympics, and he won. He did the decathlon, and he became first, and he's a Native American. So,
what is your tribe, by the way?
Skokomish. We're a small tribe with 400 people, and we're a really small tribe.
In your tribe, in your class, you were the big dude.
Mm-hmm.
As a kid, you were the lineman. I don't know how old you are, but as you transitioned out of your teenage years into your 20s, were you able to some degree to maintain that kind of physicality? Were you able to maintain your athletic side to yourself for a period of time? How did you go from just being like the big guy who still was athletic, the lineman, to where you are now? Where you were, not now, where you were a couple years ago?
Well, when you're in high school, you get, you have the track and field, you have wrestling, you have football, actually I did cheerleading. So I did cheerleading and, you do all these sports and, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year. But then once you get to high school, you don't have those free sports and you get to do it every day. Free gym, free, let's go compete against other people. And my athletics just kind of dropped to my drive to go to it because I'm not a professional. I'm not going to get paid for it. So I'm not going to do it.
I do have to ask because you put it out there. What did you do in cheer? And what was your favorite cheer?
I was actually one of the people who threw people up. Me and one other guy, we threw the girls, and they always said, throwing the men throwing us up, you're going 2 times higher than what the woman could ever do, and they said it's scary because they fly so fast. Yeah,
I have to admit, just at this moment, I'm just seeing you toss a girl up and her go
yep.
over the over the bleachers and you just slinking away with your towel between your legs. Like, did anybody see that? I hope nobody saw that.
But the thing is, it's junior, senior year, I was probably the strongest, probably even more stronger than I am now, because we did powerlifting every single day. We hit the gym, and I was benching 440 pounds, deadlifting over 550 pounds. It just, that's what I did, was just constantly work out every single day. On the weekends, I took my break, but I had weightlifting class instead of PE. I had, weightlifting after we had football practice. I had weightlifting when we came in before school. Like, I was constantly lifting weights.
So you also were uniquely primed to take up the endeavors that you've taken up in the past 2 years, because at the very least, it's not like you had a sedentary childhood. You were very active.
Oh,
and in your teenage years, roughly how much did you weigh? You were big, but how big were you? Did you know?
At the junior and senior year, I was 275 to 300. I was always in that range.
Okay, proper linebacker size.
But that was in high school, so these guys are like in their 20s. So, yeah.
What was the incident that happened to you that created the expansion, however you want to? Did you have an inciting incident that took you from being, this 275, 300 pound guy to, well, double that?
I actually gave it a lot of thought because I wanted to make a video about it. Like, I'm getting a lot of people asking me that on my TikTok videos. What got you to that weight? And the only thing I could think of is I didn't handle my depression, my sadness very well. And I took to food. I took to playing video games 10, 12 hours a day, because when I was younger, my sister passed away. And then a few years later, my grandma passed away. A year later, my, so-and-so, like, in 2021, we had 20 tribal members pass away, family members. My dad passed away that I try to connect. Like, it's just constant death is around me, and I didn't know how to handle any of that.
I'm sorry for all of that, especially there's no especially, all of it is individually tragic, and I am sorry for all of your losses. You had mentioned being bedbound.
Mm-hmm.
What happened? How, if you're comfortable talking about it, you can always.
I need to start telling this story more, anyways, because I also get asked that a lot, like, what brought you to bedbound? And so 4 years ago, throughout my whole adulthood, I've always had gout. I take medicine for my gout. Take this medicine and it prevents flare-ups as often. So 4 years ago, I went to the doctor, said, "Hey, I have this foot pain. It's different than gout. Can you please look at it?" They're like, "Oh no, it's gout. Just take it easy and, let's up your meds." And I went in a month later, "Hey, this foot pain is really killing me. I'm telling you, it's different than gout." Like, "Okay, well, your gout medicine's not work. Let's put you on a different one." Not even looking at my foot and telling them, like, say this is the foot. Your gout is usually in your big toe, right under it. Well, mine is all along the second and third toe, and it's on the foot, not on the toes. And they're like, "Oh, no, you don't know what you're talking about. It's just gout." And then a couple months after that, I'm telling them, "Hey, I can't even stand. What should I do?" They said, "Oh, just, compress it, ice it, heat it, elevate it. Don't stand on it. And come in a couple of weeks and see how you feel." So I did what they said. Literally didn't stand up, didn't sit up on the edge of the bed, didn't do any kind of pressure on it. And I called them up, said, "Hey, I can't even put any kind of pressure on it. What should I do?" And they're basically telling me for months on end, "You're just being lazy. Just come in, and we don't do home visits because, you're not on that kind of plan. You're not disabled. So just come in. You're just being lazy." This is what the literally people are telling me from the doctor's office. And
love that medical support.
Yeah. And so this is 5 months now of not even doing literally nothing, doing what they're saying. "Hey, take it easy. Don't walk on it at all." And then I just didn't do anything because I got tired of them saying, "Hey, you're just being lazy." So I just stayed there, and pretty soon my foot felt just a little bit better, where I thought I could stand up because the pain wasn't there. And I couldn't. And I gained 50, 60, 70 pounds. And then an ER visit happened to where I had to get, but I couldn't stand up. And it took 8 men, grown men, to get me out of my room and put me on a tarp to get me out of my room. A tarp that like their medical beds couldn't fit on it. And yeah, it's just a big ordeal that happened. But that was the day one of my change in my life.
Out of curiosity, with your foot, did they ever determine what it was? Did it turn out that, like, hey, it looks like maybe you had a hairline crack?
Yeah. So 4 years ago, they were telling me it was gout. And then 3 years ago, when I finally got in-care help because I signed up for disability because I literally can't get out of bed, and those people were saying it's plantar fasciitis. Let's treat it like plantar fasciitis. So I was rolling my foot on ice and like pulling socks with my toes and trying to get any kind of mobility. So fast forward to literally 2 months ago, not even that long, like 2 months ago, they finally x-rayed it. 4 years later, they finally decided to x-ray it. And I got I forgot what the name is. It's some like 20-letter word. But basically, I have nerve damage under my second to last toe and the middle toe. And any type of movement, it's going to disturb them toes. So I have to get steroid shots every 3 months. And I have to go through this physical therapy. And they said, how come you didn't come in sooner? I'm like,
I've been coming in for 4 years.
Yeah.
I've been coming in for 4 years. Everyone's just going like, oh, it's gout and you're a wimp.
Yeah.
Thank you. So that's lovely. It's good. It's good to see that there weren't enough challenges in your life. So the medical community in your area decided to make sure that you had yet another one. So awesome. But throughout that, because it looks like in the past 2 years, you've dropped over 135 pounds, somewhere around 135, 140.
135.
Which is about 70 pounds a year. So, no small feat. That's really damn impressive, especially 2 years in a row. And you make all these videos where you're moving a lot. And normally we save the plugs to the end, but if you're listening to this, you go to Instagram or you go to YouTube or go to TikTok. Though really, let's get you to Instagram or YouTube instead, and follow Bill at NativeSaiyan, and Saiyan like Dragon Ball Z, Kamehameha, and all that sort of stuff. NativeSaiyan, and see the kind of effort he puts in, because I know a lot of people whom are trim, they are normal size, and when they go to the gym, they put in 1/10 the effort that Bill does. And I don't say that lightly. I'm not just saying that to butter him up, because we've agreed not to actually have butter on this podcast today. But he works out really, really hard. You did that with nerve damage in your foot.
Mm-hmm.
Every time we see in these videos, you going up and down these stairs, you running around, you doing all of these things, you doing your dead bugs, like your foot's killing you.
Oh yeah, every day, all day. And that's not even the only thing that's in pain 100% of the time. I have a lot of chronic pain as well that I don't talk about. I've made one video on it, and that went under the carpet because you got barely 200 views.
Again, let people know that when they see you doing these things, what you're actually doing and what you're pushing through to do it.
So I have a sciatica nerve pain that I also get shot in every 3 months, which I just got it like last week. So on my left side, like the sciatica is right above your butt crack, and it's both sides. It's not just, hey, I got nerve damage on my left side. Can you fix it? My nerve goes on both sides. So the left side of my hip, it feels like there's stinging pain constantly going to my tip of my toe to my hip, like 100% of the time. And my right side, just imagine a blowtorch going up and down the side of your hip constantly like that. That's what I go through every day, every second of the day, and it hurts a lot. They said there's nothing they could really do about it.
As you drop more weight, will that take the pressure off, or is this now just like a permanent condition? Or they don't know?
They said it's a permanent condition, and losing the weight possibly will help, but they don't foresee it fixing the pain because it's in your nerves, and less weight on it will give it less pressure, but it's still going to hurt.
I'm sorry to hear that too. So yeah, so every time you see him doing these things, these are the circumstances that he does them under every day. There you were, hospital, 8 guys, tarp, pulling around, and you said that was the day.
Yep.
That was the day you decided to make you made your decision. What was the day after that like? What was it like the first day you tried to do something?
What I asked them is, because I've seen TV shows about, these 600, 700 pound guys, 900 pound guys going into these like live at home, let's lose weight type of things. And I asked the doctor who's seen me, hey, is there a program that we could do this with? And they said, yeah, here's the number. And we took it down. And in 2020, they only do that for celebrities. Like if you want to lose 50 pounds, because it costs so much money, and normal people, they even said it, normal people like you are never going to be able to afford it. So it's going to be a no, and yeah. So that was my first day back after I wanted to find a live at home program that could help me lose weight.
Can we help you? Yes. Will we help you? No.
You're too broke. That's basically what I heard. Yeah.
You broke ass plebeian. Go away. Good luck. Oh, that's so wonderful. Anyway, again, the support from the medical community that you've been getting truly, truly warms the heart. It does. So you tried out for this, you contacted this program that was sort of like, you too poor for us to talk to. Oh, don't even give us your name. You can't afford to even do that.
Mm-hmm.
What was the next step? How did you move on from that? Aside from the 5 minutes of cursing after you put down the phone.
So basically what I do when I learn any kind of trade is I spend days and days watching YouTube videos, looking at forums, looking at literally everything. And I put in how to lose weight, and billions of things pop up when you type that into Google. And I was like, okay, how to lose weight as morbidly obese. Again, billions of things. Look, literally I found out in 2021, literally everyone's going to put their 2 cents in if you're morbidly obese on how to lose weight. And if you lose it too fast, hey, you're losing it too fast. Don't lose it too fast. If you're losing it too slow, what are you doing? You're not losing it slow. Like it, no matter what, people are going to say stuff about you. But I forgot what we're talking about. I'm just going on a rant.
No, feel free to go on a rant. First off, it's amusing. And 2, it's informative, because the reality is that's true. One of the reason I'm doing this is I know it works for me, because one of the realities of weight loss of any kind and fitness of any kind is what works for one person doesn't necessarily work for another person, because we're all different. So even though I myself have been having struggles lately because of various circumstances, some degree of depression and whatnot, where my ups and downs, what works for me is if I'm doing keto and intermittent fasting, that works for me in a way that doesn't work for most people. And after an adaptation period, I can be very, very physical on keto, and I can work out really, really hard because I'm insane that way. But that doesn't mean it would work for anybody else or work for you. So it's not just finding the diet, it's finding the diet, which really needs to be an eating methodology, not a diet. This is how I'm going to eat from here on out, but also how you need to modify that methodology so that it works with your body and your mindset and your emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, a lot of people, it's like, yes, try this diet. It didn't work for me. Well, you didn't do it right.
Yeah.
That's my little rant. But what we were talking about before we both went all ranty on my podcast here is you were turned down by these, can you pay us an arm and a leg people? And then you did research on YouTube to find what can you do to save your life, change how your life is going, to get control back of your health and physicality.
So I watched a lot of YouTube. Like I think I spent 2 weeks, literally nothing else. Didn't play any video games, didn't watch any other TV show. I think the wife was getting sick of it, but literally 2 weeks straight of watching YouTube videos on how to lose weight if you're morbidly obese. And then I came across the video of a guy who was 650 pounds, and now he's 270 or something like that. I can't even tell you who it was. But then he said, the thing I started was just walk from your room to your kitchen, sit down. If you could do that once and you're not tired, hey, do it again. Do it until you're tired, sit down, and let's do it again tomorrow. See how many you could do. Walk from your room to the kitchen to sit down. Like, literally, he said it was that simple to start out. And I was like, what else can I do that's simple? And I was like, hey, I like shadow boxing. So I'd literally sit like this exact spot, and I would sit here and do it for 1 minute. I put a timer on 1 minute. I'd and then catch my breath for a couple minutes, and then 1 minute, mix it up, upper hooks, jab, like I would 1 minute at a time. Like, you don't have to go crazy. Let's do it for 45 minutes. Come on, keep pushing. No, just 1 minute. If you get in the habit of just doing it once, we're going to do it again tomorrow for 1 minute. We're going to do it again like 3 weeks, and then pretty soon it's a habit. Hey, I forgot to do my shadow boxing. So 3 weeks down the line, I'm just doing it just because it's a habit now. I didn't go crazy time, and then like 2 months down the line, I'm like, let's see how long I could actually do it. And then I got lost listening to music. Like, I put my headphones on, and I looked at my timer. I'm like, how did I do this for 45 minutes? It just, the insanity of just losing your time in good music, And I found out if you put good stuff on that you want to listen to, you can just do it without even thinking.
And I love that you said shadow boxing, because I love fighting and boxing. I've never actually fought, but it's a big, and it's fun. That's the other thing about it, is there's just something inherently fun about throwing punches and kicks. And that helps, I think, with fitness too, where if you can do something, it's like being on a treadmill is boring as all hell. You can get into the music and zone, but it can be like a bit of a psychological torture just to be going and in the same spot. But when you're getting your cardio on by throwing some punches, it's a lot easier to get lost in it, because there's just something satisfying about, and very calming too, because you're getting all that aggressive out on doing these things.
Mm-hmm.
So you started small steps. Just if I can walk once today, that's great. If I can get 2, that's great. If I can get 50, that's great.
Oh yeah.
It just became an everyday thing. Small steps every day, small pieces here and there.
One of my favorite quotes that I heard, I don't know who it was. I think it's David Goggins, or I couldn't even tell. I listened to so many like these motivational speakers, but they said, do what you can do until you can do what you want to do.
If you can only do so much, put in what you can.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll give him a little bit of plug. Previous guest, Dr. Kevin Payne, who has developed MS, and sometimes has to fight against his body to do things. He says, put in the bare minimum you can. If you can't do what you want to do what you can do. Even if it's just going down to the gym and he physically can't work out that day, he'll go down to his gym and he'll sit there and he will envision himself working out, just to keep the time, just to put in that moment so that the habit building maintains. He did something, as opposed to, I don't feel like doing this today. I'm not going to, I just can't do it today, so I'm not going to do it. And then the habit of letting it go because it was too difficult or there was a problem. So that's a very good step to be taking. Getting back to your journey into getting physical again. And also, in fairness, you were somebody who enjoyed being physical in your youth. And I think there's something to be said about being like, yeah, I used to enjoy running around and doing stuff like that. You began shadow boxing in your chair. You began getting up, walking to the kitchen and back. When were you able to then go, okay, I've got this, I've got that, I need to add, I need to step this up a little bit? How long were you going before you began stepping up your routines?
I think it's about 2 months into it, 3 months into it, somewhere around there. But I just wanted to get in the habit of just doing something, whether how small or how big ever it is, and just get in the habit of doing it. And then I was like, okay, I love anime. Like, I'm a big anime fan. And I love all the 1990s, early 2000 animes. And one of my favorite characters, I'd say in the top 10, is Saitama.
For people who don't know, name where Saitama comes out of so they can hunt this down.
One Punch Man. Saitama. And he does a workout, 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, and a 10K run every single day. And I started doing like bed push-ups on my knees and, wall push-ups and dead bugs. And then I didn't do 10K, but as much walking as I can every day. And I started doing, when I first started, it took me 10 different sets to do 100. So I did 10 at a time. And then pretty soon I got to where I could do it. Hey, I can do 15 now. Hey, guess what? I can do them in 20s now. And now I could do them in 25s to this current day. Like 25 knee push-ups on the ground, no longer on the wall, no longer on the bed, but on the floor. And I could do dead bugs. And now I could do sit-ups now. Like I wasn't able to do sit-ups in a decade, 2 decades. And now I'm doing actual sit-ups with being 530 pounds,
That is no small feat. You are, again, one of the reasons I wanted you on here is from seeing your videos and how hard you go at doing these things, which now is much more impressed. Like, it was impressive before, but just knowing your foot, your double sciatica, that's, especially with something like push-ups, that is not sciatica friendly.
Mm-mm.
Do you do any things like Superman's? Do you like lay on your stomach and
so I started doing at the it's December 1st, I started doing a DDP Yoga, and that doing the yoga poses and certain things just aggravated the sciatica in my foot so much more than doing my regular workouts. So the wife still does it, but I can't because that hurts too much.
When I'm referring to Superman's, what I'm referring to is it's a back strengthening thing, which, to be honest with you, I could see this sciatica being a real problem with this, is you would lay on your stomach. And then you would basically, just like Superman does his thing, you would basically try to arch your back so that your arms, so you're lifting your chest and your legs off the floor, kind of making like a semicircle with your body.
I do have hip workouts that I do. I lay on my side, and we call them the clam workout, where you basically open and close your kneecap as wide as you can, and it stretches the hips really good. I usually do that every morning because it gets like my hips lubricated and ready for the workout for the day.
So you've been slowly adding on. You tried DDP Yoga, which I did for a while. It is a good workout, but there's a lot of DDP and DDP Yoga.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much DDP and DDP Yoga. And he's a consummate salesman, I will say that. Even when you've bought the product and you're in the middle of the product, he's still selling you that product.
Yeah.
But that's irrelevant. For people who do have mobility issues, there are worse things you can do for yourself than DDP Yoga. And I still do what he calls the broken table. Whenever I'm feeling a little bit of like an issue with my back, the broken table I find really helps strengthen and heal that back pain. But again, it's not sciatica.
Mm-hmm.
So I would imagine that could be terrifyingly painful if you have some back nerve damage.
Yeah, it's terrible. I wouldn't wish it on anyone.
Roughly in a given day, how much time currently? Because you've been at this for about 2 years now. Has it been 2 years?
I'd say a year and a half, because the first 6 months we just watched YouTube videos on how to work out and how to, lose weight, and I found out 90% of your weight loss is going to be your food. So we focused more on food than we did any kind of working out.
Very smart, and we are going to get into your food in a little bit. How long in a given day, on days that you are working out, and days that are really your workout days, because I assume you're going to have days that you work out more, and then other days where you don't work out quite as much because rest, you still need it.
Mm-hmm.
How long are you going on your days where you are working out?
Some days I do 2.5, 3 hours, but on average probably an hour, because I spend 10 minutes warming up, like almost the moment I wake up. Like I get up and I check my phone for notifications and who I should get back to and all that. But then after I do that, then I do my, my clam workouts and then my hip thrusts and, stuff to get my hips going. Because first thing in the morning is the worst. So I have to kind of like lubricate them up, put that oil into the joints.
On days you're working out 3 hours, regardless of how you break it down, that's 3-hour workouts are incredibly difficult, even for people who are good for working out. And I respect that. I appreciate that. But you mentioned food. So let's talk about your food. Because as you said, food is about 90% of the battle.
Mm-hmm.
Before we talk about what the changes you've made, give us a little hint of the horrors that your diet used to be.
Well, I worked as a poker dealer, and I worked graveyard, like swing shift. So I'd get there about 5 and then get off around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It depends on how long they wanted to play poker, because you can't tell a poker player, hey, we're going to shut down in 10 minutes. Get your playing in. No, we're there until they leave. And, I made a pretty decent amount of money, anywhere from $150 to $500 a day, not just a pay period, but a day. And when you have that kind of money, when you're young and you're like, hey, I could go to fast food. Hey, it's 3 a.m. What's open? Jack in the Box. That's only what I ate because it was the only thing open. So every day when I got off work was Jack in the Box. Every day when I woke up, because I only live 5 minutes away from work. Yep. I only live 5 minutes away from work, so I have plenty of time to get ready. So I'd go to McDonald's because I was never early, because I only lived 5 minutes away,
Your diet was basically whatever fast food was along your path.
Yep.
Working graveyard shifts, even for people who are adapted to it, that does tend to play havoc with your metabolism anyway, because you're not getting the rest you need at the time you need to get it.
Yeah.
People tend to gain weight when they're working graveyard shifts.
And then being a poker dealer, literally, we sat down for 8, 10, 12 hours. Like, we sit there and...
Yeah, so between the food and the poker and sleeping during the day, probably very little, if any, working ability or time to work out at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's a recipe for weight gain. You switched your diet, though. What did you decide to try? Or did you try numerous things before finding your thing?
Literally anything and everything you could think of, we tried it. And I found out, looking back now, that I was doing it all wrong. Like, I'd do it for 2 weeks and be like, oh, I didn't lose any weight, so it doesn't work. And I'll try a different one. And then I'll try a different one for 2 weeks, try a different one for 2 weeks, try a different, like, so I jumped fab diets over and over and over. And then my friend says, hey, I did keto and, I lost 50 pounds so far in, a few months. And I'm like, okay, let's try keto again, since he did it and it worked, so I just switched literally over to everything and everyone that everyone was talking about. And that is wrong. Like, do not do that. Like, one of my favorite stories is, this guy, he talks about, you go to the gym for 1 day, you don't see results. You go back the second day, you don't see results. You go back the third day, you don't see results. So it doesn't work. Let's just get rid of it. Let's not go to the gym. But I promise you, if you show up every single day with one rest day for 3 months, 5 months, 6, I can't tell you when it's going to start showing results, but it will. Just stay consistent with what you're doing. It's not going to show up really quick. Just stay consistent. And I don't know what video I watched, but it was saying all these people who are jumping around from diet to diet, they're not seeing results because they don't see results with it so quick. And so I decided to try I'm pretty sure it's a diet, or if it's some sort of like genre of diet, I don't know. But I took it one step at a time. For 2 weeks straight, I wrote down literally everything I ate. I had 2 soda cans for breakfast. I had, spaghetti. I had garlic bread. Like, I didn't write down calories of what they were. I just wrote down what I ate, took pictures, and documented it. And then after the 2 weeks, I was like, okay, where is all my calories coming from? Oh, I'm drinking 700, 1,000 calories of just soda. That is a huge chunk, Just breaking it down, 1 week we took out soda. We're not drinking soda at all. So for a whole week, everything else was the same but the soda. And then the next week is, what else are we going to work on? Okay, we have a lot of pasta, so we're going to cut down on the pasta, try to find alternates for, and we like a split or pea pasta. Some, I don't know. It's a veggie pasta. Yeah. Yeah, I think that is exactly what it is. But we substitute the pasta with, veggie noodles type of stuff. And, then the next week hey, let's add a salad to lunch, And then the next week, while we're doing week 3, we're also doing week 1 and 2. So we're slowly adding or taking away something that's more healthier for what I'm doing. We're not making it, just a fad we're only going to do for 6 months and lose 40, 50 pounds. We're going to make this a whole lifestyle change and not just a temporary fix.
Right. It's an eating methodology. It's not a diet. You're not on a diet. You're going like, okay, we're getting rid of refined sugars. At the very least, we're getting rid of things that are nothing but sugar. So off they go. That was week 1. That was the sodas. And out of that, as you said, at least 700 calories per day gone. And it's all sugars, simple carbohydrates, high glycemic and all that stuff. So what is it, if you were to take a look at it now, what would you say your eating methodology consists of?
Basically what, I don't know, the best way to break it down is high protein, lower carbs. Because I like my meat. I'm never going to be a vegetarian or a vegan. I love my steaks. I love my hamburger, my turkey, my chicken. I love that stuff. And, basically, I want to build muscle too. So that's what I found out. You want to build muscle, get more protein.
Yeah.
Carrying 500 pounds, you need to be stronger.
What do you do for your fats? What's your, are you somebody who does butter? Or is it olive oil? What are your relationship with your diet, your eating methodology to things like fat? What do you do?
I I don't know. My wife does the cooking, so I really don't know. I know she switched from olive oil or vegetable oil to olive oil, I think. And she switched, like, we're making small changes literally even to this day, 100 weeks later, we're still trying to make small little changes here and there. So instead of flavored water, we're going just straight water. I don't know about the fats. I really don't.
No problem. And do you do seltzer water? Do you get have a soda stream where you get a little bit of fizz? That way it's water, but at least there's a little bit of a kick to it. I found that helped me.
Oh, I tried that a couple years ago and it just tasted weird to me, so we never had it.
Ah.
Yeah.
It's all individual.
So you yourself said you were a certain weight. How did you change your foods?
When I was 270 pounds about 5 years ago, what ended up happening is I first tried to go lower carbs and whatnot, and that worked out for me a little bit. I then went to a gym. I go to a gym and still to some degree go there by a guy named Eric Fleischman, Eric the trainer, and he put me on one of his diets, and it was called the Sleek Ninja Diet. And the thing about it is, when I was trying to lose weight, I had got involved in a stunt class, and that was my major form of working out. Like a couple times a week, I would pretend to fight and do all of that stuff and fall and roll and stuff that I do because mentally I am 7 years old and I never will not be.
Yeah.
He put me on this diet, which was incredibly almost no fat, but very low fat, lean protein, some fruit. And I ceased functioning as a human being for a month. I stuck with it for a month before, like I'd gone from where I could work out 3 hours at a time where I couldn't work out 20 minutes before I was totally gassed and out. And I realized that this diet had worked great for a lot of people, but it wasn't working for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to do keto, and keto is where I really began losing weight. And first I was just doing keto. Then at the suggestion of Eric, I threw in, he didn't call it an intermittent fasting window. He was like, I want you to stop eating at 5 o'clock at night. I challenge you. Stop eating. You stop eating at 5 o'clock at night for a month and I will give you $100. He never paid up. But I did it. And then that became a habit. So my good habit, what works for me is fairly strict keto and the intermittent fasting window, which worked out to be 6 hours. And I thrived on that. I've just been having difficulty, even with doing this podcast, in getting myself back on that track, because I'm an emotional eater. You know that song. You know that song. And even right now, I'm ashamed to say, I'm in a downturn. I've not been doing well with my diet. I've put on a little bit more. I'm having difficulty getting that control back. And I feel bad about that because I know what to do and I know how to do it. And for me, I'm like you. I love working out for 3 hours at a time. I had periods of my life where for 5-6 days a week, I was at the gym working out 3 hours a day with my buddy, boxing and lifting and flipping and being an idiot. Just right now, I'm having difficulty getting that back on track. I admire that you are chugging along in a very, very solid way with like some really good philosophies and decent ways of looking at things, especially when there are things that potentially could trip you up and you make the mental decision not to let them. I admire that a lot. One, you got your physicality on track and you're working that angle. You got your diet mostly through conscripting your wife to think about and structure your diet for you, which is wonderful. It is wonderful to have a supporting partner. It truly is, especially if you can't cook. And the other piece of this puzzle for you, I think, is the way you utilized social media. Because I encountered you on TikTok where suddenly in my feed, there you are doing what you do. How did you get to that? How did you begin utilizing this social media structure to assist you in your working out, your motivation? How did you become NativeSaiyan?
So basically what I wanted to do was I went through my own head, like, how can I keep myself accountable? How can I keep going every single day? Because I want to keep doing this and I want to do it for me. You know, when I was, let's say 30, I'm 36 now, going to be 37 this year. When I was 30.
We won't hold it against you.
Yeah. When I was 30, I weighed, I think it was 400 pounds, 379. Like, I don't know. But I wanted to lose weight then, but I wanted to lose weight for X reason, for someone's reason, for someone else's reason to tell me, you need to lose weight because of this or that, and for once I wanted to lose it for me, for myself to be happy. So I was thinking in my head, where can I put this? I was like, I have a diary that I literally write it. Oh, it's over here. I wrote your notes on it. I have a diary that I literally write in every day. I was like, this will keep me accountable. No, I need something bigger, something that I'm going to see every day. So I was like, let's take it to YouTube. Let's take it to, YouTube is actually where I started. And then someone said, hey, this TikTok thing is growing huge. You should, take it to TikTok and funnel them to YouTube. And I was like, I don't even know what TikTok is. So I went on it and then I was scrolling. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. People just make some weird dancing videos or talk, or, so I was like, all right, I'm going to post my weight loss journey. And my first video was my week 2 weigh-in of 2021. And I got 2,000 or 3,000 followers day one of my TikTok. It hit 100 and something thousand views in 24 hours, and I'm like, oh, this is crazy. What's going on? It's just like, whoa, what happened? I don't even know what happened at that, how I felt. So all I wanted to do was to document for myself, saying, hey, you didn't work out today, make a video, that you did something, anything, shadow boxing, sitting down, standing up, walking to the kid, document literally anything. And that's the whole reason I started it, was to keep myself accountable.
How has been the response from the community?
Anywhere from, you're doing amazing, you inspired me to lose 50 pounds and keep it up, to, you're just doing this for attention, you're not showing any kind of like, it's literally anything and everything between that. Like, it's, yeah. But I do it not for the negative comment. I do it for the people telling me I'm the reason they're getting back on their weight loss journey. I'm the reason that they lost 5 pounds in this month. I'm the reason that, they want to also make content and show their story, because I'm giving someone inspiration or someone, their own voice.
Another question occurred to me that's slightly off tangent, but about TikTok is, do you have a couple followers that are like that? So you get your comments, and I can see from like, you've got like 400 comments. Like any given videos can have like hundreds to thousands of comments. And of course, being a single human being within a very finite number of hours in the day, you put out 3 videos one day and each one has 500 comments. You can't read or see all of those comments. But do you have a couple followers who it's sort of like, there's Bob. I knew Bob was going to be there. Hey, Bob. I love you, Bob. Do you have your favorite followers? You don't have to name them. But there's like a couple followers that like, they're always there and you always know, and you're always happy to see them.
There is a couple of dozen people who, like, there's this one guy who comments literally the same thing on every single video. I'm proud of you. Keep going. I'm proud of you. Keep, like, literally on every single video. I could tell the videos he watched because he puts the same exact comment in every single video, which later on I'm going to count how many. And like, yeah, it's pretty cool that they're so invested in me, which in my eyes, I see myself as nobody. I'm just a Joe Schmo on a Native American reservation, and, to some people, like when I went to Anime NYC, I met this one chick. She's like 5'3", 5'2". She's a tiny little girl. And she was literally fangirling that she met NativeSaiyan. And like, I had to like pry her off of me because it was like, I
love you too.
Yeah. It's so surreal to me because like if I go to Walmart, I'm not going to get bombarded like that. If I go to the mall, I might get noticed once, maybe twice. But when I post a video on social media, hey, I get the, 500 comments. I get 20,000 likes. I get, average of 2,000 new followers every day. That's what I am on social media. But in the real world, I'm just me.
True. But then again, that's every celebrity. Who is any of them? It just so happens that your audience is through TikTok versus through a TV show. And it's the same kind of thing where to the end user, you are this personality, this persona, this person, and to watch you and to meet you. And of course, by doing the social media, there's that sense of knowing you, especially since some of the videos you post, you are very, very open and honest. You did a video that touched me earlier today when, not that I was going to I don't research or do anything because I'm lazy, but I opened up TikTok because I had some moments to kill before doing this interview. And there you were. And you were talking about friendship and the whole feeling isolated, that there aren't that many friends, which is, I think, a problem most people in the adult years go, especially when there's no work or the social isolation, because unless you're the person making all the phone calls and you're the person creating the event, usually there's no event. Like, friendships fall away after, they don't fall away necessarily, but the whole we all get together on the weekends and do stuff doesn't happen after college. Like, your friends are your immediate circle of who your coworkers are, or who's at a church if you're going to a church or a community center. But if you're separate from all those things, it's sort of like there's 3 people from high school that you talk to every couple months. And I think everybody's like that. So you did this very open and honest video, very vulnerable video about how that made you feel. And I was sort of like, oh man, and I was very emotionally invested. I had not spoken to you. I didn't know your name was Bill until we started, until a half hour before we started recording. My first question to you was so you, who are you?
Yeah.
I've seen you cry, but I don't even I've got to look at this piece of paper to just remember what your last name is, which is Pickernell.
Yep.
So but if not for that piece of paper, I would be doing some weird thing to try to get you to say it. People emotionally connect. God, I can talk. I have a little note saying use less words, and yet I never do because I'm in love with my voice. when somebody meets you, from your perspective, hey, stranger I've never seen before. Oh, you've commented. Lovely. But for them, they saw you pour out your heart about your friends. They saw you suffer like on this, like going up and down those stairs. They saw you doing the dead bug or the push-ups or shadow boxing, and they saw you sweat and suffer and talk about the setbacks and talk about the pain and how you're pushing through it. So they have a lot to be vested in. They are connected to you. Even if for you, it's like, I think I saw you comment once. Thank you.
Yeah, I get that all the time. Like, do you remember me commenting on this video? I want to lie to you and say I did. Like, I don't like lying to people. I could say, yeah, I've seen it and I appreciate it, but like, I get like some videos, like I think my most viral video has 20,000 comments on it. Am I going to see 1% of those? I don't think so. Yeah, I'm not going to see it.
In a lot of ways, it's a lovely thing to have a bunch of people who so vested in the journey you're trying to make. That's a lot of support.
Mm-hmm.
But you are doing really well.
Yeah.
And not that I'm somebody to be like, Bill, I'm proud of you. But Bill, I'm proud of you. You're doing some damn good work.
Mm-hmm.
And let's do a little bit more good work. What thoughts, what final advice, what advice would you give somebody struggling with their own journey? Be the wise man on the hill for a moment. Even if you're not in a hill, even if you don't have a hill to be on at the moment.
The best advice I usually try to give people is, like, one of my favorite hashtags that I use is hashtag this is my story. People are going to say, hey, you're not losing weight like Bill, like I am. You're not losing weight like, Zach. You're not losing weight like blah, blah, blah. This is your story. Don't let other people say you should be losing it faster or slower. Or, if you're losing 1 pound in a month, 12 pounds in a year, you're doing great. You're losing. It's going downward. Like, don't let people, put down your progress that you're making. You're making progress. Keep it up. You're doing amazing. That's, my favorite thing to tell people is you're doing great. How many people in your life tell you that you're doing great? Not very many. How many people, my favorite thing also to tell people in the comments is, I appreciate you. How often do you get people to appreciate you? I'm trying to positively tell people that I see them and I love them, and, do it at your pace. It's your story. It's no one else's. It's yours.
I think that is wonderful advice. And again, let me say to you, you're doing great. And so, Bill, where can people find you when they're not finding you here?
I'm on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. I'm on Twitter. If you just type in NativeSaiyan, most likely I'm going to pop up either in a Fat Gum uniform or a Naruto uniform or some sort of anime uniform. That I'm going to pop up.
Before I give my plugs, I will ask you one final question. Important question. The kind of question that I believe the people watching this really, really want to know. Who is your favorite Saiyan?
I am.
In the Dragon Ball Z universe, who is your favorite Saiyan?
It'd be Nappa. I love just
Nappa.
how, yep, he's at the very beginning of the Z saga.
Oh, I know who he is.
Dragon
The
Ball
bald
Z.
guy.
Yep.
Yeah. An interesting choice.
Just how goofy and all his whole life is about fighting and brutal, and he's, he knocks out those planes in the sky. Oh, I thought these things would be stronger, and, can I beat him up now? No, Nappa, you can't yet. We're waiting for a Kakarot. It just, I don't know. I loved his character since I've seen him.
It's usually always Goku, Vegeta, and then if not that, Gohan, which I'm gonna have to admit, like, to being, I like Kid Gohan. Anyway, as for me, when I'm not watching anime, you can find me here on the Fittest Fat Kid You Know, and on my socials, which are TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, even got a Facebook page, and it's all at Fittest Fat Kid. If you want to reach out, if you've got a question, if you have some need or help with your fitness journey and you have nobody you can ask this question to, you can ask me. And you can do that at hi there@fittestfatkid.com. And you can go to my website, which is www.fittestfatkid.com. So, no matter who you are and no matter where you are or what you're doing, hold yourself accountable, but do it with kindness and understanding. And I'll talk to you next week.